Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for listening to our talk. Today, we're going to be talking about collaboration, research, and experiential design in BFA design curriculum. This presentation is going to be about transforming a restaurant branding assignment. I'm Abby Guido.
And I'm Kelly Houlihan.
And we are both from Tyler School of Art and Architecture, Temple University. The restaurant project has been a project in our curriculum for over the past 20 years. All of our juniors participate in this project, and historically, the students would create their own concept for a restaurant, brand the entire restaurant, write all of the copy, and produce all of the collateral. This project, as I said, has existed for 20 years, and last summer, we decided to take a look at it and incorporate some more human-centered design approaches to the project. The photo you're seeing here is past exhibitions, which we'll be talking about at the very end of our presentation. So our new human-centered approach had three large changes that kicked off the project. First is that we assigned pop-up sites. So instead of the students selecting any concept in any restaurant that could exist anywhere, we had 4 assigned sites. Next, the students worked on an ethnographic research process. They were joined in teams of 3 to 4, and the group would visit the site, and I'll be sharing some of those images shortly as well. And third, they designed user personas for each concept that presented. So while the students used the same sites, they each selected different audiences that they would focus on. The 4 locations the students were assigned were City Hall, the Fulladelphia Zoo, the Navy Yard, and the Eastern State Penitentiary. These 4 locations were selected because they were all very unique, as well as within traveling distance to our university. So when this project started, there are 5 sections of this course, and the students were each already assigned what location they were going to and what group they were in for their research. And they would travel with an instructor to the actual location to do their research on site. Today, we're going to be focusing on City Hall. So we'll be sharing some of the work that came out of this location. What you're seeing here are some images of our tour of City Hall. So the group that went to City Hall toured the grounds. They spoke to stakeholders that were just walking through City Hall. They were encouraged to ask questions. We were visiting right around lunchtime, which was really great because City Hall is located downtown Philadelphia. So there's a large number of visitors each day, both that are visiting on vacation, also people who come into the city for work every day. There's a subway station below City Hall, so a lot of commuters coming to work get out at City Hall. There's also a lot of grounds where people can sit, different parks they can eat lunch on. So the students were able to walk around and talk to all these different stakeholders around the grounds. Then we toured inside City Hall. So for each location, there was a designated stakeholder who represented the location and took the group of students on a tour. The Director of Communications was our contact at City Hall, and she walked us through the whole building. We got to meet some city council people. She shared some history and also shared some initiatives that City Hall was working on. The students were able to ask her questions like, where do you go to lunch? And do you think this type of restaurant would be good to have on the grounds? So they gathered a lot of information that day. Next, the students went back and they worked together in their groups. They spent about 3 weeks working together within their groups, within each class, further researching their site. So they documented everything they saw firsthand, and they also expanded their research to find what they could see online, what other interviews they could conduct, and they put these together into research documents. The students then presented their research as a group to all of the classes so everyone could see what their findings were. Next, the students divided up and started working individually on their own concepts. For this project, we also had what we call a grid of deliverables. We wanted to embrace this human-centered approach, not only in what the project was providing, but also in how we thought about this project. So this here is a grid of deliverables, and what it allowed the students to do was really pick the focus they were interested in pursuing. So if we had a student that was really wanting to embrace environmental design and wanted to actually build out what the pop-up restaurant will look at, they could do this under our 2D column. And so this let each student select their own path and also customize the deliverables for what the concept called for. The first project from City Hall we're presenting was called Grounds for Change, and it was by Allison Mandel. Grounds for Change, this concept came directly from our tour of City Hall. One of the big initiatives that our tour guide shared with us was the new voting machines that were coming to Pennsylvania and the challenges that all of the state was having on making sure that the voters were educated on how to use these machines. We visited during the fall last year, so they were gearing up for primaries, but also thinking further ahead to the election coming up this November. Grounds for Change addressed this issue by creating a pop-up coffee shop that was giving away coffee while also educating voters on how to use the new polling machines. Allison created this user persona for Danielle, who is a computer engineer. She focused on his age, what his goals were, some pain points, and also some of his favorite apps he likes to use. Some of the research that Allison conducted to find other logos that inspired her, she also set them up on campaign pins to further embrace the idea of voting. She built out the logo to be responsive. This was one of the deliverables. So there's the full logo. It also works in one color. And then it also can be pared down for different usages if it cannot be used with all of the type and in such a large area. This is the color palette for this brand. And some of the typefaces for the brand as well. Allison spent a lot of time doing research of photography of past elections in Philadelphia, using our library on campus to find old images that were then incorporated into this campaign as well. Part of the deliverables that Allison picked was actually building a mock-up of the new voting machine. This was a way to show how the menu works. So on the left here, we have what the machine looks like. And on the right, you have the grid for how you order your coffee. And this aligns with the same grid that you use when you're actually voting. The new machines have a receipt that gets printed out that shows what you voted for, and then you enter it back into the machine. And so all of the functionality of the actual voting machine was used for the functionality of the UX and UI design of the menu. You can see a few other screens. The language as well, so review ballot was again reinforcing how the machine works and what the true usage of the machine will be. She designed the curtains that will separate the voting machines. And then some additional collateral, some packaging, the cups that you could take to go, some coffee beans that would be for sale as well. And finally, for Allison's online deliverable, she focused on Instagram, on social media. So the students could select again what made the most sense for their concept. And for their concept here, pushing social media was an easier way to reach a larger audience than a website that people might not know about. So she designed a spread of how some of the posts might look, as well as some posts to have to start sharing as election comes closer. Finally, all the students were provided with a with a template that they would use to then import all of their imagery to be included as part of our exhibition. And my colleague Kelly is going to be sharing a little bit more about this, but we wanted to show what the Grounds for Change poster looks like when it was complete. Kelly?
Thanks, Abby. So next up is another City Hall project by Grace Graves titled Fulladelphia. So Fulladelphia is a food truck that operates on a buy one, give one basis. Following that slogan, food for people, The goal of this pop-up is to encourage awareness around the issue of food insecurity in Philadelphia. So City Hall is a busy hub of activity that serves a wide population of folks, and Grace identified the homeless as the most underserved population around City Hall. So with further research, she learned that 1 in 5 Philadelphians are currently food insecure. And so what that statistic equates to is over 300,000 people. So the Philadelphia identity sets out to try and change that. Grace created 2 user personas to identify her audience. First is Destin. He's a business person whose main pain point is that he wants more healthy food options around City Hall. And next is Vivian, who's a busy student with little time or money. She represents a member of the city's food insecure population and wants food options that are low cost, convenient, and healthy. The logo creation for the brand was next. Grace wanted a brand feel that was warm and welcoming, making it accessible to everyone. The goal was to create a system to serve both user personas. Fulladelphia is a food truck that resides in City Hall during the week, and on the weekend, it visits a diverse array of locations around Philadelphia in order to serve citizens in need. The 1 meal bought, 1 meal donated model means every time someone purchases a menu item, the same item is given to a member of the food insecure population. A system of iconography that represented the food items was created and then developed into patterns that could be used on various deliverables. The Laka typeface was chosen for its clean, modern feel, as well as its humanist qualities that makes it feel warm and approachable. A website was created to share the menu. It shared the story of the brand and the importance of the work that they do. And the site also had a truck finder where users could see the truck's current location as well as the weekly schedule. The design of the truck integrates that pattern for a lively and fun appearance. And the truck features the menu on the side where visitors can choose to fill their bowl from the bottom up, starting with a base and then adding the various toppings as you move up. Grace created ordering slips for customers to fill out with their choices. And to illustrate the idea that the customer is perpetuating a circle of giving, stickers were created to visually represent that. Customers could write their names on them, and if they chose to, they could be applied to the back of the truck. The stylized icon system found another application on the condiment packaging here. And the pattern also found a home on the bowl wrap, continuing that fun, engaging feel of the rest of the brand. Finally, Grace created her poster for the exhibition. It features the logo and 7 of the deliverables for her brand. So these are exhibitions for 8 of the 14 students who were assigned to City Hall. In addition to Fulladelphia and Grounds for Change, some of the other identities shown here include Court Orders, the Green New Deal, Bite the Power, Choo Choo, Halfway Gourmet, and Broad Street Wine. So a big change from the previous years of this project was that we weren't going to be showing the physical elements of the identity in the exhibition. And the faculty decided that the format of the poster would allow us to address a few issues. Our program had recently grown from 54 to 67 juniors, and that growth would have made a physical exhibition with actual deliverables on pedestals impossible to show with our current resources. Plus the variety of deliverables that Abby talked about earlier, students could choose wouldn't be possible to show in the old format. We also had always struggled to find a good solution to feature both the physical and the digital work side by side. The poster approach allowed students to decide which deliverable was going to be the main focus on their poster and give them the ability to showcase the work in a unique way to tell their specific brand story. Posters in the exhibition, you can see here, were hung on 2 tiers in groupings by location, and then we invited our site stakeholder contact for each location to jury their location's designs at the opening exhibition. The brand presentations, there were brand presentations, and they were written, scripted, and recorded by the students, and allowed them to talk about their research in context to the design decisions that they made. It also served to help students be able to speak about the project outside of a school setting. These presentations were uploaded to Vimeo, and a website was designed that was viewable during the exhibition on a large screen monitor. Additionally, the posters were featured on the bottom, the QR codes were featured on the bottom of each poster that allowed visitors to use their smartphones to scan, and they could actually watch the presentations on their phones. So you can view all of the brand presentations at restaurantshow2020.cargo.site, and you could reach Abby or myself, Kelly Houlihan, at the email addresses listed here. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, everyone.